From a little cover, I got my dreams in sight. Wrestling on the mat, I go and put up a fight. With every hold and slam, I rise to the peak. Now as Professor Bear, it's my strength that they see. Roaring with knowledge like a lion so proud. In this wrestling world, I'm standing out loud. I'm Professor Bear, got the passion to spare. Wrestling's my life, with the power to share. From the roots to ropes, in the spotlight we gleam. Chasing victory dreams, living out the theme. Now my WOSN, my squad.
Yeah. Hey, new beginnings on the cusp. Not too old to adjust. Old dog, new tricks. Remember, I was just a pup. Something dirty in my cup. Clean soul.
With my boys crew, we'll always ride. In the wrestling world, one just claim the prize.
Welcome, and thank you for joining me this evening. I am Professor Bear, and this is a Bear's Thought. Guys, girls, I have been in my head running with this thought that as much as we see promotion and promoters going hard, just putting on great action, we don't give promoters enough credit. We don't tell them thank you enough for all the things that they have to do to put their amazing shows on to help us forget about our problems for a couple of hours. So with that being said, I want to introduce y'all to, and I'm gonna jack up your name. I've been sitting here practicing, but I apologize right off the bat for it. Could you go ahead and pronounce it for me?
Yeah, it's Kyle Pinkenine. I'm Kyle. It's spelled a little funny, but you can just call me Kyle.
All right, Kyle. This is my friend Kyle, and he represents I can't even pronounce your promotion name.
Ephesians Pro Wrestling.
Ephesians Pro Wrestling. And sadly enough, for the last 5 minutes, I've been on looking at your Facebook page, sitting there going over the name, saying it. And then, of course, I can't say it now, but
it's all good. It's all good.
Before we dive into it, guys, girls, I want y'all to check out their logo. The thing about wrestling is, as big of the world as it is, a lot of times you have wrestling with the same name or similar letter structure. So I want y'all to be able to know when you see their logo that you are made it to the right promotion that you're looking up. And if you're anything like Professor Bear, you like when it's easy. So I put up a QR code that would take you directly to their YouTube page to watch some of their amazing action. So with that being said, Kyle, I'm going to ask you a question that I always ask my guests first thing. How did you become a wrestling fan?
Well, that's funny. It's a little bit unique for me. I grew up in the Dallas area in the 80s, so obviously that's the Sportatorium with the Von Erichs. So I grew up with the Von Erichs and Kamala and all those guys. My dad would take me down there on Saturday mornings and would have to go to his office, mop his floors, and then he'd take us to the wrestling matches. So, I got an early taste into it, and that was all good. And then we kind of quit watching it when that flopped. WWF came around. We watched the Saturday morning shows, but honestly, there was not much wrestling in our house up until high school, which was the start of the Attitude Era. And my mom just happened to be going to college on Monday nights those nights. So me and my two brothers and my dad would sit in the living room and watch Stone Cold and all those guys. But, we always, dreamed to have a ring in our backyard as a kid or something for fun. But wrestling really just, it never, actually doing it never sparked an interest in me. And I just kind of stumbled into it. And the reason is because Ephesians Pro Wrestling is actually a Christian ministry as well. And I stumbled into it in a time that I was in a pretty dark space. And not only through this promotion, but also just the guys in it and a lot of things that have happened in my life. My life turned around in the last 8 years, like considerably. So now it's more about giving back through the vessel that we use, to share the good news for everybody else.
That is awesome to hear. So when you made that transition to get into the business, what was the first what was your first steps in the business?
So I was, like I said, I was introduced to the former founder and owner. He'd invited us to a show, took my family, and then he'd asked me to come on Monday nights to their training because they do Bible study, and I was a little reluctant, but I decided just to go in. And I remember the first night I walked in and watched those guys train, and I thought, oh my word, like that's something I could never do. I served with them for several months and was actually the camera guy. And the more and more I watched and stood next to the ring watching what they were doing, the more and more I realized it wasn't as difficult as it seemed at the beginning. So I said, you know what, I don't want to carry this camera anymore. And I started in the pro wrestling school, and it's all history since then.
Oh, wow. So you decided you're going to train, and you step into that world. And you were saying that being able to see it, and then you realize it wasn't as difficult as you thought it was. So when you finally did it, how long did you train before you had your first match?
Yeah, I started my training in May. And in August, I was getting semi-close, not like close to be on my, to be fully released. And I took a bump wrong and broke my collarbone. So I was down for about 6 weeks from there. So, I started my training in May. I think I kicked it back up in somewhere around September, October. And then I debuted in January of that following year. So about 9-10 months.
So how was it getting into your first match? Were you nervous? Was it everything you thought it would be?
No, I was nervous, and for several reasons. One, I was just nervous. I was out of my element. Like I said, I didn't grow up watching it my whole life. I knew wrestling, loved wrestling, but I just wasn't. I was kind of like, I felt like an outcast there because, they're talking about this, that, and other, and they can name WrestleMania 15 and know exactly what matches are in it. And I'm like, right. It just is not something that we grew up on the Von Erichs. And then after that, it was just like, oh, well, our wrestling's gone. Because we didn't have cable or anything growing up. So I didn't, it was the Saturday morning show. But, it was fun and it was challenging. but it does take a lot of work, and I mean a lot of work, especially cardio. Just in general, it's just a different environment trying to train your body how to take those bumps and at the same time, keep your cardio up. And there's just so many little aspects there that you kind of have to that you don't know about until it happens. So that night I debuted, I was very nervous. I was nervous because one, I was debuting in something I wasn't 100% comfortable in yet. And number two, it was just going to be a run in, and I was going to power bomb the guy and kind of interrupt the match. And the guy was pretty big. And at the time, I did strongman. I wasn't too concerned with not being able to pick him up, but I had never really talked to him or met him. So I asked him if he wanted to make sure, and he said, "No, if you're going to do it, then do it." And I was like, "Oh Lord, you better do it." And I did. So it all worked out in the long run.
That's cool. So, how long was it with you wrestling that you transitioned over to being doing more behind the scenes stuff?
Yeah, I mean, when I started with him, I was big into helping and volunteering. So I was very involved with several aspects of different places. And then in I guess it would have been June of 2023. Yeah. No, 2024 maybe. The guy that was running it decided he was going to retire, and he had mentioned selling it. And like I said, it is also a ministry, and it's a very important ministry to me. It's very unique. It's special, and I just didn't want it to go and turn into a wrestling promotion. So we worked out a deal, and I just said, I feel like I know where God really wants this thing to go, and let's just do it, and got a good team of people that do have, 25, 27 years of experience in this, that we're helping get this thing launched on the wrestling aspect of it. But we've really expanded in the last year since we've done the name change and the brand change to some pretty significant community impacts that we do around here as well.
That's awesome to hear. What can you explain how the ministry plays a part into the wrestling?
Yeah, so there's several different aspects, but the main one is we are a ministry first and a wrestling promotion second. So what we do is we use our talents, our God-given talents of professional wrestling, as our tool to kind of open a pathway to share the gospel of Jesus. So if you come to one of our shows, whether it's one of our house TV taping shows, or if we're on the road and we're doing a travel show, you're going to get some really good, solid professional wrestling, but you're also going to get a testimony from one of our guys. And at the end, we're going to do a short gospel presentation and give people an opportunity to respond to that. Outside of that, we every Monday we train twice a week, and every Monday we do Bible study after training. So that's a big aspect of it. And we also have a kids program. So we have a full kids program with a 30 kid roster, where they actually are learning how to wrestle. Also, they have their own shows. But like I said, they're their own brand. It's EPW Kids. So we're taking the love people have for professional wrestling. We're using it to spread the gospel, where somebody may never walk into a church to hear the good news of Jesus. They may walk into a wrestling show and then happen to hear it, for the first time. And that's why we do what we do.
I love that aspect of, I think that a lot of people don't realize how much wrestling can play a part in their everyday life, and to help people get the word out and to learn. I think it's an amazing thing. Mm-hmm. And I love the fact that you all are trying to broaden people's horizons and give them a chance to learn without even I without even overselling, or I'm trying to think of the right word I'm looking for. Not driving it down their throats.
Yes.
You let them know, hey, this is what we believe. This is why we believe. We want you to feel comfortable to come in if you choose to, and I really appreciate that. That is a great tool. I've heard of a lot of wrestling promotions that are faith based, and I always thought to myself, that's a good way to reach people, and will get people to understand that you can reach people with what they like, and
Mm.
also give them what you believe they need. And
Yeah.
again, I think it's an amazing thing, and I always like to put forth the effort of celebrating and
Mhm.
making it known and making it more popular.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's where, you can go to of a faith-based wrestling show. You can go to just about anything faith-based, and there's a potential that they do shove it down your throat, ram it down your throat, and you can't get up here till you respond to this. And that is absolutely how we are not. We one, I want everybody in there. I would rather the non-Christian, the non-believer in our building than the believer, because that's more people we can share something with that's maybe never heard it or just hasn't quite got to that step. Um, but we don't shove it. We don't shove it down your throat. We had, I talk about this several times, but we had this girl that was there, and very, very, very much an atheist, which is great. If that's, you're welcome, come in that door too. At the end of the night, she started crying, and somebody had told me about this because they were trying to get some advice, and she started crying, and she said that after the message and the prayer, because like I said, we give people time to respond, and a young girl sitting in front of her raised her hand, and it made her really emotional because she said something in that girl made her raise her hand that happened in that situation, and even though I don't understand it, it moved me. And so we were able to just basically say, listen, that weird feeling that doesn't make sense, that's the Holy Spirit. That's God trying to work in you a little bit, trying to open your eyes a little bit. It may not make sense now, but at least, if nothing else, take that and be open to it. It's not, hey, do it. This is what I believe it probably is. So just, hey, be open to it and see what happens with it.
Love hearing that. So, how long have y'all been running as a promotion?
This is our 26th year. Now, for 24 of those years, it was a different name. And then when we acquired it, we did a name and brand change to Ephesians Pro Wrestling. But we're in the 26th. Yeah, it started in 2000.
So, why the name change and the brand change?
Well, there were several factors that went into it. Just switching the account one. There was, a bunch of humps to try to get through. And so the attorney said it's probably easier just to change the name. However, it didn't seem like it was easier, but we also looked at it because prior to it was Christian Wrestling Federation. And when we started looking at new names, we wanted to look at the potential, the possibility of one day going in to do shows and spread the gospel in maybe some hostile territory, maybe some Muslim territory, maybe, overseas mission where Christianity is not welcome. And Ephesians obviously is a biblical word and a biblical name, but it's not as out there as Christian Wrestling Federation, where you can fly under some of those radars that, countries that don't allow Christianity have. So there was a lot that went into it, but ultimately we nailed down the EPW Ephesians Pro Wrestling for Ephesians 6:12, where we wrestle against not flesh and blood, but against spiritual principalities in this dark world. And then it goes into the armor of God, which is really big, for how you stay suited up. But that's where we came up with the new name once we went with it.
That's cool.
And
Now,
based on, sorry, not to cut you off, based on what you were saying earlier, take a look at the logo, because there's a couple others that you can actually put in a search bar and put EPW, and it pops up a few other promotions that are not us, which is fine, but that's our logo. However, we did just receive finally that we have trademarked not only Ephesians Pro Wrestling, but we have EPW trademarked as well now. So eventually it'll be the only one, and it won't be confusing if you just type it in on the internet. It should go straight to us.
While I was pulling up the YouTube page, I noticed that, well, first off, y'all production seemed top notch, honestly. It looked really good. And I noticed that y'all are on a television station. Is that correct?
That's correct. So we're on Abundant TV. It is the fastest growing Christian network streaming app that's out there right now. You can get it on Roku, Apple TV, Fire Stick, all the streaming services. But it's called Abundant TV, and we have every Saturday night we have a show called Saturday Night Battleground, and it's 1 hour. It starts at 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Every Saturday night, it's a combination of really good pro wrestling, and we do a lot of backstage work with that to bring an hour production versus just like 30 minutes or something. To spread that out, but you'll also get a gospel presentation at the end of that as well. But yeah, we have a weekly show on Abundant TV, and we have about 80,000 people weekly that are viewing it. And
wow.
Believe it or not, I love it when people talk about our production. Believe it or not, everything you see is working with volunteers who have never done this before.
That's crazy to hear that.
Yep, we got 15-year-old kids running cameras. We've got, it's amazing what we can do with just some committed folks that really, they have outside of our show, have no production experience or anything. It's just us watching and learning and fixing and moving along the way, however we do it.
The particular show I looked at, it looked like it was going to be an all cage match event.
Yep. That was December. Every December is our cage show.
Oh, okay.
Yep. We put the steel cage up, and every match is right there in the steel cage. Yeah, but this year the show was called Steel Salvation.
And I find it ironic that the first time I ever was in Dallas was last year, and I went to a promotion that we were working with, and the whole show was built around cage matches also. So not only was my first time stepping foot in the wrestling ring, it was my first time in the cage. So I was like over the moon about that.
Yes. The cages are fun. I get a little rambunctious in them sometimes, but it still makes for a fun night. Go watch a couple of those cage matches, this last one, and you'll see a really good crimson mask coming down my face. But sometimes it happens, right?
Right. So tell me about your championships.
We have three. We have three championships. We have the Texas Championship. We're actually considering making that like the Abundant TV Championship or something, just because our program's broadcasted worldwide versus just Texas now. So,
Right.
but we have that one. And right now that's currently vacant. That's going to be a fatal four-way. We'll decide that on March 7th. And then let's see, we have our tag team champions. So actually that's me and my tag partner Omega. And then we have our EPW heavyweight champion, which is currently Brixton Shaw.
That's pretty cool. Do y'all have women wrestling?
We do. So when we did the brand change at the time, the former company did not really care to have women. That was something that we wanted to change, because wrestling for women now has moved away from the sex era, and they're very talented.
Yes.
They put in the same work. They are very talented. They're hard workers. Let's display their talents. And the second reason that we thought it was important is, like I said earlier, we have a kids program. And so at the time when we started that, without allowing women, then where would our girls end up going when they turn 17, 18? Well, we'd have to send them to the secular world. Well, maybe we don't want to do that. So that was another big reason that we wanted to bring in female wrestlers. But we're really starting to get that division kicked off this year. We've had a couple good women's matches so far. And then this next show we'll have, we're going to have somebody I'm really looking forward to. You may or may not have heard of her, but her name's Jody, just Jody. She's out of Mississippi, and she is a hard hitter, and I mean hard hitter. And she can take just about anything from a guy or girl or anything. So she's coming in March 7th, and that should be a good one. So yes, we do have women wrestling. We're really trying to build that division to where we can have some females that lead the full division in their own training and everything. But right now we're using mostly, outside talent.
Right. Where do you want the company to go with, let's just say, the next 5 years?
Man, next 5 years, there's so much that happened in this last year. It's crazy to think about what we'll be like in 5 years. But I'll be honest with you, in 5 years, as long as our talent and our wrestling is still as good as anybody else that you can find out there, and we're doing things to give back to our community that's built us and supported us for 25 years, I'll be perfectly happy. Would I love to expand through this TV thing and expand even more and make it, something more full-time? Absolutely, I would. But at the same time, we've gotten to where we're just kind of going on his time. He's kind of been guiding us and allowing certain opportunities over this last year to come up that we've never had before. And so I wish I could tell you, but I'm kind of scared to tell you what 5 years could look like, because it could be something that's completely spun out of insane control and going hotter than hot. And it could be something that's just like it is today. But as long as we're giving back to these kids and the community and things like that, I'll be happy either way, to be honest with you.
So let's talk about the kids promotion, because you are probably the second promoter that I know that actually has a kids promotion. How did that come about?
So for many, many years, we would do a 6-week summer camp, just over the summer, do a 6-week camp, have them come in, teach them a few things, let them have their own little show at the, right before the adult show in August. And it was a fun, and it, 8, 10 kids had come. Then it got more popular, and it was about 5 years ago that we had a really large class and some really talented kids. And at the end of the summer, their parents came to us and asked if we would consider doing it year round to give them something to keep doing. And so we did. And it went from, a 6-week summer camp one year with about 8 or 9, 10 kids to we have a full-time kids program now with 30 kids in it, with 3 different classes that run on Sundays. They have their own shows. They have their own gimmicks. We work on their character development. We work on respect of the business, how to act in a locker room, how to, respond to people, how to shake everybody's hand. We have the thing is run by kids. So we have kids refs, we have kids commentators, we have kids announcers, and we let them just take that program. Of course, it's guided, but we let them take that program, and it's to the point where it's really fully kid led, and they do amazing. We've got some girls I promise you'll see in WWE.
I love hearing that, because not only does that speak to the young kids that have a dream to be a wrestler one day, but it gives them insight and teaches them not only respect, but it teaches them how to function in a professional wrestling promotion. And I think that is tremendous. And I love the fact that you all are letting the kids do different things, and it can spin off to a love of history, loving to learn about certain things, or being the helping with the lights. There's so many different aspects that gives kids a choice and a chance to grow and show them that anything is possible.
Right. Yep. And that's the big thing with these kids is they are, and a lot of people say, hey, they're kids, it's dangerous and blah, blah, blah. Well, if you don't think that safety is like not the number one, then you're insane. Like, they don't just come in and we let them start throwing themselves around. Beginners class, they may learn to bump by the end of their session. It's more about teaching them the form and the running the ropes and all that stuff, and we're not just letting them flip flop around and do dangerous high flying stuff. We're making sure they're doing it correctly, safely, and that we have a rule: if a kid bumps his head once, they sit out. It's just how it is. Us in the adult program, we bang our head on the mat 80 times, and we're going to get back up, but we're very protective of them. We're not just rambunctious, but they come in and they put in the same work we do in our adult class, for the most part, at a scaled level. And I'm telling you, in 10 years, we'll have at least one of them girls at WWE.
Love hearing that. When does your kids show come on?
Actually, to be honest with you, if you tune in this Saturday, we just had an advanced show a couple weeks ago. Tune into Abundant TV this Saturday, and that will be airing on the network at 5 p.m.
Cool.
But they do a full show 3 times a year, and then this year they started doing a few more advanced kids class shows just to give them more ring time.
Right.
But yeah, that'll be aired this Saturday.
If I was a kid, I would have bugged my parents left to right. Let me go, please. Let me go.
I would have too, because at that age, that was the age I wanted to do it. And I remember having dreams of putting a wrestling ring in our backyard and just wrestling each other, but definitely feels different than what my dream felt like.
It's funny too, because as a kid, and I didn't realize at the time, but I wanted to be a booker promoter, because I was my dad had got me a wrestling ring, and of course I had tons of different figures and stuff. So I was like, okay, the figures I have, I'm going to make a federation and we're going to have championship matches. And how serious I took it was I generally did not want to decide who won because I felt like, oh, I'm going to be biased towards one group than the other.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I ended up flipping a coin for to help me make my directions and how to book. And once the coin, say I have Batman versus Spider-Man, okay, we're gonna see who wins. Spider-Man wins. Spider-Man's the bad guy. So now I had to, okay, let me figure out how he's gonna do it and cheat and get away with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's that creative brain. I tell you what, we've got a great team with all that stuff. We have a team. We sit down weekly and go through our TV shows and keep those stories. So that's, it's not gone, but it's not. You don't get too many stories out of indie promotions anymore, and I mean stories that will take you through.
right.
But we do. So we kind of break it out in seasons. We go from January to May, and then from May to it's either August or I can't remember, and then we go. I think it's September, and then September to December. So we kind of everything we do, we build towards those things.
Right.
But we got a great creative team and everything too as well.
Are you a part of the creative team?
I am. I'm on it. I have some creativity. I'm much better of a let me hear what you got and let me see if there's a way we can or maybe several times I'll say, well, we're going to do this, and this, and I'll say, but what about what we're doing here? Oh, that's right. We can't. I'm better there than to come up with it per se. But
right.
I can usually once I hear something, I can pick up. Hey, are we already? We're doing that here, or what about this story, or where are we trying to? I'm better on that side of it. Definitely not best on the coming up with my own thing for the whole thing.
Right. What would you say is your biggest thing that you're proud of with the promotion?
The growth we've experienced just in the last year. It had to be one of our best years ever. And so we've been around 26 years almost. In May, it'll be 26 years in this direct area that whole time that we're in now. And people to this day say, I had no idea you existed. Now that's changing. We joined the local chamber of commerce. We're doing events for cities around here where, it's amazing the exposure we've gotten after 25 years of nobody knowing who we were or what we were doing to a lot of people knowing who we are, recognizing. I was at a TNA show a couple weeks ago when they were in Dallas, I guess the first night they had TV, and there was a guy that walked by and stopped and was like, is that EPW out in Rockwell? Yeah. And, I've heard about that. So that used to not happen. Right. Now, so I would say that's the biggest thing, because it's not just that we've gotten exposure, but it's that our guys and girls have really come together. We got a solid core of about 40 folks that we've come together, and we've done some significant things this year. Did a Toys for Tots show and drive and raised over 700 toys for our local county, and did just have really dug into serving and giving back. And that's what made this year, this last year was the best, is all the people that are putting in the time and effort, because we're all doing it as volunteers. This is not a paid or a full-time or part-time for any of us.
Well, and that just shows your level of love for the sport of pro wrestling and your love for being to be given and give back.
Yeah.
That's a tremendous thing to be proud of. With with that, you said that y'all have a four-way coming up to crown your new heavyweight champion, right?
It'll be the Texas champion.
Texas.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. We got us a fatal 4-way.
What what are you looking forward to in that match?
Well, are you asking me as a fan? Obviously.
Yeah.
It's gonna be an awesome match because it's all of our top guys. It's gonna be fun. It's everything's leading into a really so our anniversary is in May, and that's when we do our big show, or one of our 3 big shows every year. And everything that happens starting this next show, including this fatal 4-way, is going to start one heck of a story all the way around. So that match in and of itself, some of the guys that are in it, it should be on the edge of your seat, hard hitting, maybe some flying. It'll be exciting for everybody.
So do y'all have a website?
We do. We have a website. And all our website right now is all of our information, our phone numbers, ticket sales, all that. You can find out about us there. But it also, we have Facebook as well. Our website is www.ephesiansprowrestling.org. And then, of course, our Facebook page is where we do a lot of, obviously, our communication and match information and things like that. So follow us on Facebook. Just see what we're doing. We're on YouTube. I think you have the link here. Everything that goes, once it's aired on Abundant TV, then it gets put up on our YouTube page. So you can see from when we started TV in October all the way up to today. But we're there. We have a pro wrestling school. Anybody in this general area looking to get into pro wrestling, we have that always going and available. We have our kids program for 7 to 14-year-olds. And, we're just, if you're a church or a school or somewhere, anywhere in the country, and you just want an awesome event and an awesome Christian event, maybe for your church, just reach out to us on our website. We travel as well as we have shows twice a month filming TV here, but we do a lot of traveling as well.
Well, I want to thank you for first coming on the show. You've been an awesome guest. Secondly, I want to thank you for continuing to elevate wrestling, and not just wrestling, but Christian-based wrestling. Again, I've heard of quite a few. For me, I always think they are good for, like you said, getting the message out there for people who may not uh, believe or know God. This is a great way of finding Him. I love that you all give the kids their own space and let them to be able to learn the business. So if when they get old and they still want to continue, they have steps ahead of other people, not only with their training and the wrestling, but the psychology of wrestling.
Right.
And it's an amazing thing. Again, thank you so very much for everything you're doing for the sport that we love. And I definitely feel confident that after we're gone, wrestling will continue just as strong, if not stronger.
Yeah, I agree.
And I love that.
Yeah.
I have no worries about professional wrestling.
No, it's going to be here, and with us, we're in South. Well, we're not South Texas, but we're in Texas. So watch our shows. We lay them in a little harder than some others. We like the Texas style wrestling where we kind of you're going to feel it, and it's going to be fun. But yeah, just check us out, because one thing about us is there are several Christian promotions out there, and nothing against them, but they're using talent from kind of, hey, come help with me in the show, where we have an actual group and we train together. But because we're a Christian based promotion, we have to take our wrestling more serious so that people will actually take us serious. So I would put our promotion in the faith based world. I'd put it up against anybody as one of the top, just because we've been doing it for quite a while, and it's us as guys together versus groups coming in from wherever.
All right. Again, do you have any shout outs or want to mention any upcoming shows? This is your time, my friend.
Well, we like I said, we're every other week. If you're in the Dallas area, follow us. We're always doing something. But really, other than that, watch us on Abundant TV. Check our YouTube page if you can't catch Abundant TV. All of our stuff's there. Every once in a while we do a special show. We'll actually get a live 2 hours, so we go live, because that's the difference in that network and something else, is it actually has 2 live streaming channels at all times. It's not just a DVR type streaming app. It's actually got live programs playing. And so we'll get our time with some live there. But, just be honest with you, just go support professional wrestling wherever you're at. Go to their shows, buy their merch. That's how these guys make their money. Just support them. I give a special shout out to Marty Miller. I don't know if you know him, but he's got a great Christian faith-based promotion in Georgia, and it's Hope Championship Wrestling. He's a good dude. We've partnered a couple times together, and so I give him a lot of credit. We talk a lot, but just support whatever's out there. If you're a wrestler, go out there and give it your best that night, no matter what, because the people deserve it. And, just love what we do.
Again, I can't say it enough, but thank you for everything you're doing. You have an open invitation. Anytime you would like to come on, we could definitely have you back and discuss whatever's on your mind.
Awesome, man. It's awesome. I've enjoyed it.
Good. Thank you. Guys, girls, thank you again for coming around the campfire and enjoy another amazing tale about what goes on in wrestling that you may not be aware of. Again, these wrestlers, promoters, the commentary team, valets, managers, cameramen, people behind the scenes, they are working so very hard to bring you a top quality show that you can enjoy and come back to over and over again. So you get a chance, if you talk to someone who works in wrestling, make sure you let them know how much you appreciate what they're doing and how they do it for all of us. Before I go, I always love to make this abundantly clear. Please go support your local indie promotion. You never know who is wrestling there, who are trying to build themselves up where maybe one day they could be on the big stage being the heavyweight champion of the world. You just never know. So I encourage you to go check out your local show. And also, you get to, it's so much cheaper, and you get to sit pretty much ringside. You get to talk to the wrestlers after the event, and you can buy merch that they actually made themselves. And after all that, you still can come out of the venue with money in your pocket. So, for a good, fun time, try one of your local promotions. With that being said, I am Professor Bear. This is a Bear's Thought, and we will catch you again around the campfire very, very soon. Y'all have a great, great evening.